What keyword ranking strategies are you currently using? The entire goal for ranking is how many orders can we possibly get through that one specific search term. Now, I know there's a lot of talk in our space around like, oh, target like long tail search variations of the keyword and all that stuff. That does help. It's not going to have the most impact. So the most impact for any ranking keyword is going to be getting orders specifically through that search, getting a lot of orders. So we don't just want one, we want a lot. And also making sure that our click-through rate and our conversion rate are really high on those key terms. So I'll be honest with you, the biggest impact on ranking you can have is really by picking the right keywords. So if your question was, how do I figure out what keywords do I rank on? I would say like look for things that you can afford to spend a lot, i.e. you're not losing money, meaning ACoS isn't like so crazy high that you can't afford it. You want to look for things that you have really good conversion rates. Bonus points if you have good click-through rates here, but I would go for conversion rates over click-through rates. And then you just want to like put money towards that. Now, if you say, how do I rank on this specific keyword, then that question is a little bit different. And I'm just going to tell you like push volume. Now, what I recognize is that me saying, hey, push volume through a one specific search might mean that that's not super profitable. So that's where I'm saying like the real trick is going to lie in the actual targets that you select to rank on. Other things, some pro tips and some pro hacks are more advanced but can be helpful here, is if you have a specific search where it's like crazy expensive and you just don't really have the budget for it. Again, that goes back to keyword selection. Make sure you're selecting keywords where you can afford to spend that budget on it. But if we're on a specific keyword, you want to make sure that you're showing high enough in search that you can really get those good conversions and get those eyeballs on the product. But maybe you can't afford a ton of clicks because there's a lot of clicks and they're really expensive. And use the budget as sort of a lever to cap or meter how much money you are spending for that ranking play. Now, how effective that is going to be how many orders your market is making, and that's relative. So when I talk about trying to get a large amount of orders, it's relative to the other competition that is on that particular search page. Hello, and happy new year to all of you. I wasn't quite sure how many people are going to show up. It looks like we already have a couple people joining in, so I want to give you a big fantastic welcome and happy new year. I think this Thursday just so happened to fall on the 1st, and I was like, all right, we got festivities. I stayed up way past my bedtime last night. However, I thought this was a fantastic way to kick off the beginning of the new year. So we're going to jam out together. We're going to get you some answers, some resources. Been working on some really cool projects that just so happens I finished up like yesterday. I had a little bit of time before company arrived. And so a lot of cool things going on, a lot of changes to Amazon advertising. So I'm excited to get into that. So what we're going to do is for those of you who are just joining in or you haven't seen a stream before, I want to give a quick recap. So, hey, my name is Elizabeth Greene, co-founder of an Amazon ad agency called Junglr, which is why here on the Ask Junglr show, we talk about Amazon advertising. So the format of this is we're streaming across several different platforms. And so whoever has an Amazon advertising question, you drop it in the chat wherever you are listening in on, and we'll pull it up and we will get you answers. So again, a lot of shifts. If you have a supplement, now is pretty much your Q4, which is great. A lot of stuff ramping up there. So we got a lot of things going on, but then there's a lot of shifts happening. Like some of our clients, obviously Q4 was big and we're winding those down a little bit. And we're making sure that spend is under control. So total ACoS is not bananas. And we've been able to control that very well. We even have a playbook for that. So if those of you listening in are still wondering like, man, total ACoS is bananas right now, how do I get a hold of it? might have some questions around that. And then we also even have some brands where they're already looking ahead towards Valentine's Day. If you have a highly giftable product around like a Valentine's Day, you probably actually want to start prepping mid-January. And so we're already like gearing up to have those conversations with brands. So a lot happening, a lot in the new year. I appreciate you guys all joining in. Like I was saying, I didn't know if anyone wanted to kick off the new year with talking about Amazon ads, but it's my personal favorite topic. And so I'm more than happy to jam out for as long as anyone is listening in. Again, format of this, drop your Amazon ad questions into the chat. I do typically find that oftentimes in the beginning, someone may or may not have a question. And then like towards the end, there tends to be like a ramp up of a ton of different questions that are dropped in the chat. So it is a first come, first serve. If you have any questions around new features, sponsored products video, we have a guide out on that actually. So a lot of info that I can share. We oftentimes have resources. We will pull up and do screen shares. So I appreciate Sam Smith saying hi. I appreciate you spending the new year with us and this amazing time. Daisy from our team saying happy new year. Liz, happy new year to you as well. Daisy is one of our behind the scenes that makes this show happen every single week. Could not do it without her. And then hello Sam as well. So I appreciate you guys all joining in. I'm just going to share some of the resources that we've recently put out, and just kind of give you guys an idea. I'll probably drop some links into the chat if anyone is interested. One of the biggest things that we just put out, because I kept getting a lot of questions on sponsored products video. I am very bullish, although future optimism when it comes to sponsored products video ads. So what I will say is there's a lot of buzz around this. Amazon, we were actually part of the beta, and then they announced it at Unbox, and then it recently rolled out. I will tell you this, sponsored products video, even if you have them up, you're going to have very minimal impressions. Don't expect a lot to happen right now, but there's a couple things that I will say is one, when Amazon first rolled out sponsored brands video ads, it was kind of the same thing. There wasn't a lot of impressions. People were kind of unsure where they showed up. In the beginning, you found a couple of them in the wild, but it wasn't so crazy. It's very similar, almost even more so with sponsored product video these days. That being said, there's a couple barriers to entry that I think is going to make you, if you're able to get into this ad type now and you're able to utilize it and do any testing whatsoever, you're going to be ahead of the game very significantly. I can't tell you how many brands that I audit, tons of brands throughout this past year. I don't know if I've seen a single brand who is really putting effort or time into sponsored brands video ads, let alone trying to get into sponsored product video. And honestly, the barrier to entry, even with all of Amazon's resources on sponsored brands video and doing that correctly, is the video creative. Sponsored product video ads are going to be even harder, which is why we put out this guide. So it tells how it appears, why it matters, the availability, also video upload limits. So the interesting thing about these is the video requirements are they want you to have a human demonstrating the product. And in terms of what you can put in there, you can't, I'm trying to see where we have it in here. There's some technical requirements. You can't have any text on screen. you can't have any audio, and yet they are saying showcase the product, which can be very difficult. I'm actually going to show, so if anyone wants this, we put it out. It's it's junglr.com/sp-video-guide. I'm going to drop that link in the comments. Anyone listening in on LinkedIn, feel free to go ahead and snag this guide, because what we have in here, honestly, getting the video assets is really difficult. So what we did is we put together a custom GPT, which you can access. So what you do is you'll snag a search and report. You want to filter for the specific ASIN. You download your search query performance report, and then download product reviews. I found this free tool where you can just enter in the URL and download it. And then all you have to do is upload those into the GPT, and what it spits out is recommendations. So what it actually does, and this was where a lot of people like overthink video, is even sponsored brands video, to be honest, is you'll think of, okay, what features should I showcase? How do I demonstrate the capabilities of my product? That's actually the wrong thing to think, like the wrong way to go about it. Because if you think about it, your Amazon is very much still search intent based. So you still have people who are searching for products. So when you're trying to identify which aspects of my product should I showcase, instead of you trying to come up with it, you need to do like a deep analysis on where people are already searching for your products. And the best places to get that are your reviews, search term reports, and search query performance reports. So what you want to do is identify your sort of search intent clusters. We did this analysis for one of the clients, and it was like, okay, so they actually it was a shower curtain liner. And I didn't even realize until we went and looked at the search clusters, a lot of people are looking for clear liners. And I was like, why would anyone want a clear liner? For me, I would think you would want like the colored one, but people liked how they could be able to see things. They liked how it made the shower brighter, and it wasn't so dark in the shower if you have a clear liner. I was like, oh, those are aspects I never thought of. And yet when doing that like review analysis cluster, that was one of the top searches for the product. So ergo, we need to have something that demonstrates how clear, and it's not just clear, but the reason why they want it clear is so we can show like a bright illuminated shower. So that's the aspect that we're developing the video creatives around. So again, a lot of times, again, if I was just like thinking through what people are looking for the product, I would have never come up with that. So really, I would say use this. Again, I would highly recommend going in and getting access to this guide, because in the guide, like I said, it has links to this. It also tells you how to download it, and it'll give you all the specs that you need for the video, which will definitely help you get a leg up when it comes to getting these video creative assets. We have Asif saying, hey, Elizabeth, Happy New Year. Happy New Year to you as well. So again, anyone who is just joining in, format of this is drop whatever Amazon advertising questions you have into the chat. I will pull them up, and I will go through them. Depending on how many questions, we might end the stream a little bit early. It's really up to you guys. You guys are in the driver's seat here, but I did want to go through, and actually I can show you guys this other tool that we created that, to be honest, is one I haven't even officially put out, except for I shared this in a private group that I run, and that is the only place I have shown this. So you guys are seeing this first. My gift to you for joining the stream, I can share the link to anyone who wants it. So right now, we actually built this custom app. Also, if anyone has any feedback, feel free to reach out because I intend to do this a lot more in 2026. There's a lot of spreadsheet resources that we've put out, and to be honest, spreadsheets are becoming more and more clunky to use. There's a lot of things that break. And so what this allows you to do is you can just drag and drop a bulk file in here, and literally within a matter of minutes, you have, we put out our 360 ads audit tool. However, that one requires you to copy and paste. It's a lot more clunky, where now you literally can drag and drop this. It's going to show you a breakdown of all your ad types. You even get your top campaigns by highest sales and highest ACoS, and a breakdown of the percentage of the total sales for each of these. You can have a breakout of each of your ad types. You can look at sponsored product ads, sponsored brand ads, sponsored display ads, and again, a breakout of what you're doing in terms of spend and sales by match type, which is great. So you can see here that spend on exact match is 20%. But our exact match sales are only 16%. So there's obviously some misses that we have here. You can even, of course, you can look at this, but you can even go all the way down here. And so say I wanted to look at sponsored products and then see what I'm actually targeting in terms of exact match and spend. I can break this out and sort and, ACoS, sort by spend, a lot of just really quick, deep analysis. And you saw how quickly this is. Oh, Hassan is asking, does it work for Katie PPC as well? Unfortunately not. The reason why is this is generated off of a bulk file, which actually, if you go here, there's this recording. If you're not sure how to download a bulk file, there's a complete walkthrough step-by-step that tells you what tabs and date ranges and stuff. So again, plug and play, super simple. Unfortunately, that's one of the things that makes KDP advertising so tedious, is that it doesn't actually have a bulk file available. If and when Amazon ever makes a bulk file available, then you will be able to use this. However, this does work for sponsored this will work for seller accounts and vendor central accounts, because both of those are available in both of those have a bulk file available. So I'm going to drop that in the link. If anyone is watching it and unable to get that link, just let me know. I can go, and again, feel free to reach out to me. And if anyone has anything else or other tools that we've put out, my goal for 2026 is to put out a lot of resources like this, because again, we have a lot of spreadsheet tools that are very helpful. One of them on the top of my list is a tool to help analyze sponsored brands. One thing that I'm realizing that, again, a lot of brands, even large brands with lots of resources, are significantly falling behind, is on their ability to get and generate, do really well with intentional sponsored brands video creatives. I'm seeing where Amazon is moving, and they're making creatives more and more of a centralized thing to running effective advertising. I expect that to get even more accelerated in 2026. Again, with the addition of sponsored products video, I do expect them to significantly roll out their ad inventory for that, but then also sponsored brands video as well. Again, even the brands that are running sponsored brands video are not doing creatives well. So my goal, again, in 2026 is just to help brands up level there, because there's a lot of brands. I mean, you saw the audit that I just ran. This is a brand that we're taking on. And if you look at it, 88% of spend is still in sponsored product ads, not a lot going on in sponsored brand ads. And if you look at this, the conversion rate isn't high, and surprisingly the click-through rate isn't any higher in the sponsored brands. There's a lot of opportunity. Yeah, Amar, you are on LinkedIn, so you're gonna have to reach out to me on LinkedIn, because for whatever reason, when I share links in the chat, LinkedIn doesn't get the links. Also, pro tip here is there's this how to use this audit. So I did create a video kind of going through how I would recommend like using this to create a breakdown, which I have found to be very helpful. So again, lots more ideas. If anyone has any more ideas of like a tool, or if there's a particular analysis, one of the things that I'm thinking is things like search query performance reports or other reports that are kind of tedious to get insights out of. We've been doing a lot of that, creating custom dashboards, creating, trying to get insights ourselves for us and our clients. So if anyone has ideas on things like that they think would be significantly helpful, again, feel free to reach out to me individually, or if anyone had any like suggestions, wanted to drop them in the chat, feel free. Again, if anything I'm saying, if anyone has any ad questions, or anyone has any questions around, the guide for sponsored products video, or if I can go through the audit as well, I'm more than happy to give you guys a thorough breakdown. But these are just the things that, again, are top of my mind. Although if everyone else, if I don't really have any ad questions, we might just do a 30-minute stream today. That way I can actually get back to company and work and things that we have going on around here. But I'm more than happy to chill out for the entire hour if people had questions that they were trying to deal with. Anything else anyone's seeing on? I'd be curious to know. The other thing that's been rolled out that's really interesting is the Rufus, what are they, like Rufus searches that are popping up. We've seen a couple pop up here and there, although to be honest, the volumes on that are really low. It's really good that we're getting insights to that though, because we originally a while ago, I don't know if anyone remembers, but there was a banner inside of Ad Console that indicated that hey, Rufus ads are running, but you can't see them and there's no reporting on them and nobody knows what kind of ad spend is going to them. So I would say the fact that we have actually gotten insights to that is a huge benefit. I think a lot of people are thinking that Rufus ads, it's new, they're just running. They've actually been running for a while. We just didn't have any insights into it. And very similar to how Amazon had announced with sponsored product ads that these sponsored product ads were going to show up off platform, and everybody kind of freaked out because it was the same thing of we know that it's running and then we don't have access to it. And then now that we have the sponsored products placement report, you can see okay, actually the volumes are very low. And so that's what we're seeing now with the Rufus ads. It's actually, they have been running for longer than they've had that beta tab inside of the ads section inside of the inside of your ad group. But what we're seeing is that there's just not a lot running right now. So noticing a couple of people joining in. So just slowly let you know, we're going to be here for a little bit longer. If anyone has an Amazon advertising question, feel free to drop it in the chat. We've been pulling up some resources, sharing insights on what I'm seeing for 2026. My theory is, again, I'm just judging it based off of the announcements that Amazon has done on Unbox, and also where we see them going and the murmurings I'm hearing. I don't want to say predictions, but my gut feeling on 2026 is that AMC and the insights gained through AMC are going to become more and more centralized to how Amazon is thinking about and identifying their targeting. And my gut feeling is that the better you can get at understanding your audience and using all of the levers at your disposal, which obviously is audience targeting through AMC, but also things like sponsored product, like the video assets, the sponsored brand assets, directing people to store pages and make sure your store is curated in a very specific way, and using all of the insights at your disposal to really understand and contextualize your brand and how you're going to show yourself for your specific audience. That is how I'm seeing Amazon advertising landscape shift. So they also had announced at Unbox the unveiling of, eventually doing things like full funnel campaigns, which is interesting. DSP is now coming into Ad Console, which opens up a ton of more options for brands themselves and brand owners who may not be running things through a partner. Like, just the ability to do that. We're also seeing that dynamic up and down bidding, where in the past I'd been like vehemently against dynamic up and down bidding. I'm actually seeing the conversion rates significant. And I'm not saying all accounts, you really need, which actually, if you go and you look at the app, one of the things that we pull out here is the bidding strategy. Like, you can actually see here on dynamic up and down bidding. So they're only using really mainly it's dynamic up and down bidding and down only. Look at the difference in the conversion rate. 15% conversion rate, and dynamic up and down has a 27% conversion rate, which is crazy. And see, the CPCs are way higher. It's $1.46. But the ACoS is actually not that crazy because conversion rates are so much higher. And these differences here are something that I'm seeing more and more across the accounts that we're managing or auditing, or brands that I'm consulting with. And so that just tells me, like, the targeting for dynamic up and down is, if you read the documentation, it says we will up to double your bid for individual shoppers that we deem are more likely to convert. Well, in the past, I didn't really see that much of a difference in conversion rates. So ACoS would just be like so much crazy higher. But what we're seeing recently, that conversion rate's higher, which tells me that they understand. I think, like, AMC has been around for a while, and you could only get access to it if you had DSP. But with the rollout, and with, like, it seems like it's Amazon's using it. They've really gotten really good at understanding shoppers and their shopping patterns. And it just seems to me that there's been a real shift on Amazon really leaning into. I mean, I'm sure it could be, the algorithm, maybe AI is involved, but they're doing a much, I don't want to say much better job, because it's not like they were horrible before, but it's gotten so much better at really understanding individual shoppers, like, in real time, which is crazy if you think about it. Yeah, so the question is, what do you think about AMC in 2026? I think AMC is going to become more and more centralized to really understanding your brand and targeting. Now, what I will say, and I might eat my words in 5 years, I don't think it would be any sooner than that. I do see how Amazon is leaning more into creatives and more into audiences. And then they seem to be kind of trying to go the way of Meta, where it's like, hey, just give us the creatives and then we'll kind of do whatever we're going to do for you. I don't necessarily think it will fully become that, because the difference in the intent of using different platforms. So the intent of using, say, a Facebook or an Instagram, or, like, again, those Meta advertising platforms, is it's very interruption-based marketing, and it's very audience-based. And there's no real shopper intent on those platforms, where there's very real shopper intent and very real shopper searches and product searches that happen on Amazon. So I don't think it's ever going to become that. And also, we have some brands who run a lot of, like, UGC content or meta ads, and that do really well on those other platforms. And when they try and bring those same creatives into Amazon, they actually don't do well. And this idea on Meta, which is true, that if you have like one video or something, like there's audience fatigue, where we're not seeing audience fatigue on Amazon. So that it's like every single platform. Like if you're really good at running meta ads, you will have a leg up and you'll be a little bit better than somebody who's never run any sort of like paid advertising before. If you're really good at Google ads and you come to Amazon, you will have a leg up and like you understand pay per click, but the two platforms, how like the consumer behavior on the platforms is wildly different. And I really think that strong understanding, aka leveraging AMC insights to get an understanding for how your specific consumer behaves, is going to be very valuable, and even more so going into 2026. How would you set up the campaigns for a supplement product that's about to go live on Amazon? Okay, I would say the most important thing that you can do when it comes to launches on Amazon is going to be what keywords you choose to target. An example would be like, actually, let me go here and search. Let's say we search for creatine, right, on Amazon. And I like doing demonstrations like this. So let's say we search for creatine on Amazon, okay? As we scroll down, you'll start to notice that there's a lot of different types. So what you want to do is get really, really specific on the supplement that, or the audience and the very, very specific niche in the market that your supplement serves. So here you can see things like there's powdered creatine, there's gummies. Okay, there's gummies, there's pill form, there's chews, there's a whole ton of different creatine supplements, right? So I want to know, where specifically does this supplement serve? Like, let's go back up here and let's see if we search for creatine, then you're going to have creatine gummies for men, which is a very specific search, right? So if I have a creatine gummy that is specifically designed for men, which honestly, creatine, you can do either or, but if it's like, if my branding, if everything is geared towards men, then I'm probably going to want to search something like creatine gummies for men. And then like some creatine has additional things. Sometimes there's like different dosages of them, right? So you want to start to think down the rabbit hole, and what you want to find is the intersection between specificity and good enough monthly shopper searches. We look for, I think, in monthly shopper searches, ideally we're not doing any less than 1,000. It really depends on how far the like when you get more and more specific. Like I'm not 100% sure. I would have to look it up, how many monthly searches creatine gummies for men has versus like creatine gummies for women. Or if I say like creatine gummies with XYZ, like how much search can I get? So that's the first layer. And then what you're going to want to do is have a segment of those. Now, cost per clicks inside of supplements can be really expensive. So you want to make sure you're going to pick a handful of keywords. Typically, we'll pick between 10 and 15. In your case, you might want to do 5 to 10. It depends on the budget for the brand. And then after you have that specific budget, you, again, if it's a larger budget, you can go after more. Less budget, you can go after, I would just pick less keywords. And then we like to do single keyword exact match campaigns, or you can group them by, say, like root word, or group them in groups of like 3 to 5 based on search volume. And then from there, what you want to do is to launch those ads and identify which of those search terms converts for the product, right? And then you can start down bidding on the ones that don't. And then once you have the ones that work well for the product, then you can go through and launch like your supplemental campaigns. So you would have like auto campaigns, phrase match, launching the same keywords, and like modified broad match, finding ASINs that rank well on those search terms, and then just kind of work your way up from there. Although we do have, let me see if I can find it. Although you're watching on LinkedIn, so you're probably not going to be able to. Where is it? I don't know where to find it. Oh, I know where you can find it. If you go to our website, Junglr.com, if you go to resources and you go to product launch strategy, you actually can grab, this is, if you haven't downloaded it yet, this is our Amazon launch strategy that we share in a playbook. It is this one right here. It's our A to Z launch system to rank and sell products. It literally goes through every single thing step by step, not just how to it goes through keyword research, picking the keywords, etc., all the way down to making bid adjustments and budget adjustments and scaling campaigns. So highly recommend you get that. If you haven't, we've had it out for a while, but that is something that I definitely recommend you putting that in and going through and getting the launch strategy. So it looks like we're about 30 minutes in. I think we have exhausted all questions, most likely because it is the first of the year. So in that case, unless anyone has a last minute Amazon ad question they want to drop in the chat, I think I'm going to call it a day. All right, cool. How much difference do you think there is between KDP, PPC, and regular PPC? There is a significant difference. To be honest, there is a significant difference. KDP, ACoS is going to be crazy high typically because prices are really low. We have found that product targeting and more broader targeting, category targeting oftentimes works better in KDP. And also it is an absolute pain in the freaking butt because what we found, I don't want to say any softwares, but I don't think there's really many softwares that will hook up to KDP accounts. And then also there's no bulk files. So it's all manual, which is a pain. We don't actually manage KDP accounts. We had a couple that we managed for a while, but again, because of the lower price point, there's higher CPCs and just how much effort it takes to manage those accounts, we don't anymore. But again, category targeting, broader targeting types, product targeting tend to work really well there. And then see if you can keep cost per clicks low. Also, specificity of keywords can be helpful, but oftentimes there's very little specificity in KDP accounts is what we find. But great question. Those are, to be honest, those are a little bit harder accounts to manage. So with that, I think we will, unless anyone have any last minute Amazon ad questions and want to drop in the chat, I'll pull them up. I'll get somebody some answers. Otherwise, again, I will wish you guys all a fantastic and this has been a fantastic start to 2026. You guys are awesome. Expect us to be here again, same time, same place, very next week. I did a lot of these in 2025. I'm going to continue them every single week that I can into 2026. And if anyone, again, if you want to snag that audit tool, or if anyone has any other insights or things that we can do to be helpful, expect a lot more tools and freebies coming out in 2026. And with that, you guys are amazing. I really appreciate it. And I will catch you guys all in the next one. And I appreciate you guys hanging out with me for the beginning of the year. And that wraps up this episode of the Ask Junglr Amazon Advertising Podcast. I hope you found these insights and strategies helpful in your Amazon PPC journey. Remember, if you have a burning Amazon ad question that you'd like answers to, head over to junglr.com/live to join our next live Q&A session. Until next time, keep optimizing those ads and stay hungry.